Hey, good to see you again, and welcome to this meditation from the Iowa Falls First United Methodist Church. This coming Sunday, we're doing a great celebration. It's our celebration Sunday. We're going to lift up all the different ministries and the missions that we are about in this church. We're going to lift up all the volunteers, you who make all of this happen in the church. Primarily, we're going to lift up the Wednesday evening meals that have been a major part of this church for 10 years now, starting our 11th year, and the milestones and the lives that has changed. So we really hope that you can come Sunday morning, help us celebrate. Our faith tells us we need to celebrate. Part of that, we're also going to have a breakfast after the service. So please come and be a part of that. Celebrate with us what God is doing in our midst and through us. And for this Sunday, the lectionary reading is very appropriate for our celebration Sunday. Just to remind you, these coming weeks, we're walking with Jesus on his way to Jerusalem and everything that entails. We're walking with Jesus as the disciples are walking with Jesus, and we're listening to the things that Jesus is teaching the disciples to prepare them for this life of discipleship. Last week, you might remember we had that very hard saying about hating your mother and your father, that cost of discipleship. This week is not really a lot easier, what Jesus is telling the disciples. But it's a very appropriate reading for this celebration Sunday. It is the story that you might remember. Jesus tells them, well, let me back up a little bit. Jesus is getting some criticism from the disciples and the Pharisees and some others about the people he's hanging out with, right? Jesus is not hanging out with the good people. He's hanging out with all the wrong people. He's getting criticism for who he has dinner with, who he takes time to speak with. And so Jesus answers the criticism with three stories. We're going to pay attention to the first two. The first story is the story of the lost sheep. The second story is the lost coin. If you remember that story of the lost sheep, Jesus asks, right? He looks to the crowds and he asks them this question. Who of you who have 100 sheep and you lose one does not leave the 99 to go find the one? Right? And we would all raise our hands and we would say, not me, right? I'm not leaving 99 sheep to the perils of the wilderness to go find one that has lost their way. And then he tells us this story about a woman who loses a coin. And she spends all day scouring her house, bringing out the candles, the lamp to look for it, checking all the crevices. She finally finds the lost coin, and then what does she do? She has a party. She has a celebration, which means she just spent the coin that she found. So what do we make of this? Well, discipleship is risky business. But it's also celebratory when we get it right. While we might not go looking for a lost sheep, God does. Jesus does. And if we're a follower of Jesus, then maybe we need to go search for the lost as well. Maybe we need to pay more attention to where all our coins are, right? Are all our coins accounted for? Do we know where they're going? So we are seekers. And we celebrate that, right? We celebrate when we find the lost. This weekend, we celebrate the ministries and the missions that we are about, of the people that we are seeking, and the ones that we find. And it's not just about getting them into a pew, right? It's not about getting them inside the doors. But God seeks the lost, just to let them know that they're loved. Just to let them know that if the time comes and they're looking for it, they have a home. And when that one comes home, the third story, the prodigal son, we celebrate. And so we celebrate this weekend. We celebrate God in our midst in the seeking that we do. We celebrate finding one another. We celebrate life. Hope to see you soon.